All right, Peace and Greetings, YouTubers. So 2018. Now, if you follow me, at least for the last few years, I've always kind of done an end of the year video where I just kind of talk about my experience during the year, and I always hope that maybe some of the things that I share can help somebody else, or just encourage somebody to go and do something that maybe they never wanted to do before. But anyway, let's jump into 2018. So for me, I would definitely say that 2018 was the year that I really just went with the flow. It was one of the first times where I kind of made an effort to not be in control of everything, at least internally, and kind of just let things flow. Let things be as they are. I continued to be the best person that I could be, but at the same time, I wasn't going to stress and worry and, have myself staying up till 3 or 4 in the morning concerned about things that I wasn't in control of anyway. Like, I don't know if any of you got to read the interview I did with the Whispers of Womanism blog. I talked about learning how to not always have to be in constant need of, being in control. And that's when you start to kind of find your inner peace with a lot of things. And so that's what worked for me in 2018. And the cool thing was I was able to get so much done. I was able to do more than I did in 2017, and I wasn't even planning to do any of it or most of it, And so let me kind of just jump into a few things. One of the cool things I'm kind of happy I was able to finally get was the podcast. People had been asking for years, can you do a podcast? Can you do a podcast? And it was never really on my radar. And then I kind of, maybe a few years back, was like, okay, I want to do one. I don't really know how. And so the cool thing was, because I did the album, I now had recording equipment and nice recording equipment. And I was like, oh, okay, so we'll try that. So I think the podcast may have been one of the few things that I said I'll do in 2017 for 2018 that I actually did. And it was kind of cool. I launched it in February or March. It's about 15 or 16 episodes deep. And it's been a learning experience. It's probably, if you only see me in the realm of always talking politics and race and this, that, and the third, and maybe you don't get enough of the comedic side, the podcast kind of fills that void. It's called Comedically Hard-Headed. Initially, my idea for the podcast was to kind of cover heavier subjects, but people really seem to like just my storytelling and the comedic aspect, so I've kind of kept it that way. I still want to evolve the podcast a bit more and do some additional things with it, so we'll see what happens in the new year. Also, for people who are on YouTube, because somebody had asked, when I look on your YouTube channel, the podcast to go from episode 2 to 9 to 5, and what I've done is all the podcast episodes are not on YouTube because I'm trying to let them have their moment on the different platforms, because it's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on Stitcher, and it's on SoundCloud. And so I kind of just post my favorite episodes on the YouTube channel, and a lot of the episodes are also kind of little different series, a few different little series within the actual podcast. So there's a series about Howard University. There was a series about when I was teaching dance. There was a series, what's another one I had? There's another one, I can't think of it. Dang. Anyway, there's a few different episodes that kind of vary everywhere. So that's why on the YouTube channel, everything is not, it's not episode 1 through 15 or 16. They kind of bounce around. So just, for YouTube, it's just to kind of introduce other people who may not have heard the podcast yet, what you would expect to get. So that's been a cool thing. And then there's just been a lot of really cool opportunities to come. I didn't take all of them because I think you have to also have some discernment about what you sign your name to. As a matter of fact, there was a really, really popular talk show that reached out this year and wanted me to go on their show and talk about white supremacy. And I thought it was a cool opportunity. I just didn't think that show was the right platform for that kind of conversation. Because I think you also have to be careful about, what you align yourself with. And it's no disrespect to that specific show and their production team, because I was just grateful they even recognized me enough and thought I had enough credentials to even be on that platform and have that kind of conversation. But I just felt that at that time, in that moment, that wasn't the specific lane I wanted to jump in. And if that was going to be, I've been on national TV before. I've been on HLN Showbiz Tonight before. I've been, hell, if you want to count the camera pans of all the times I've been to BET Honors and they caught me dancing in the background, you can count that. And I've been in a radio commercial before as a kid. But, still, as far as a big break where it's you're being introduced as this person and this, that, and the third, I just didn't know if that's what I wanted. And so I did turn it down just because something didn't feel right with it. And sometimes you got to go with your gut instinct. So I was like, I'll pass. Maybe there'll be something else that comes. But that wasn't the only TV opportunity that came. There was another one that came that I actually did sign on with. And so we already filmed it. I don't know what the deal is with it, if it's ever coming out. I don't know what's going on with the production team with that. But if it comes out, if it airs, I will share that information with you all. But it's been kind of cool because literally these opportunities just came from YouTube. It wasn't me going out and auditioning for anything. Even though this was a year that I did a lot of auditions, believe it or not, but it was kind of people just finding me from YouTube, so that was cool. And with that, I've also kind of branched out a bit more as far as some of the like the video editing stuff, and so now I've kind of worked with a few different companies and made like promotional videos and everything like that, and hey, got some money on the side, so I'm like, okay, multiple streams of income. I am definitely down for that. So that was kind of a cool thing. Also, what was really cool, you guys know, like, if you follow me, I had a web series at one point. But I've always had a passion for screenwriting and doing TV and film and movies. That's what I really, really, really would love to do. And so this was the year that I dedicated to just writing some scripts. I entered a few writing competitions, and I remember one of them I found out about so late. And I literally had 4 days to write a 90 to 110 page script. And somehow I did it in 3. And I don't know how. And I mean, it's crazy. This was a year that I learned to kind of balance things out. And I sometimes I have to kind of explain to some people who, you know, a lot of people would love for me to make a YouTube video every single day, every single night, or at least like 4 or 5 times a week. I would love to do that, but I'm working on so many different things that it can't even really happen. And I'm trying to kind of just give my energy to all the different things that I'm interested in and all the different passions. And so, you know, YouTube is still my main priority, but, you know, there are some moments where I have to kind of take a step back and give some energy to other things. So with the script, it was amazing that I was able to get it done in 3 days. I mean, I literally just sat there. Like, I spent day 1, you know, brainstorming the idea, mapping it out. Day 2 and 3, I mean, I was just, I mean, like 11, 12, 13-hour sessions, just, you know, and I mean, it was amazing. And then the best thing was, like, they added an extension to that competition, so I had like another 4 days afterwards. So then I used that 4 days to really just go back and look and proofread and edit and fix things. And I didn't win, but the cool thing is I have a great little catalog of scripts sitting there, including the new one. And so I'm actually still shopping that one around. Hopefully something will bite, because I think it's a great movie. I tell you the idea, but I don't want somebody to steal it, because then I gotta fight. And so that's been really, really cool. And then, of course, even with the music, you know, I am so excited, y'all, to share this next project with you all. I've been a little more loose-lipped about it than the last one, but I'm still tight-lipped at the same time. But pretty much, it's about 90% done. And at this point, I'm doing the polishing, and there's like 2 or 3 songs I'm still trying to fix. And if you follow me, you know, like, I do all of my own music, everything. I write the songs, I compose the music, I produce the music, record the songs, do all the vocals, I do it all. But I am getting additional help this time with the mastering to just make sure it's more polished when it comes out. And so I'm really excited about it. And I mean, I've been working on it since pretty much January. You know, like, to be honest, as soon as I finished Symphonic Euphoria, I had the itch to go right back in and do another album, because it was like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. I gotta get this in. And I told myself, nope. It's August or July. You just release the album, let that album ride and do its thing. Take some time away from music so you can get the energy and the urge to really want to go for it and be hungry. And so it was torture to not do anything. I literally took the whole studio apart so I wouldn't have any reason to go over there and touch it. And so after that New Year, as soon as it was 2018, I mean, I hooked that thing back up and I got the cranking. And so I'm really excited about the album. It's very bright, but it still tackles a lot of subject matters, a lot of different sounds. It's somewhat similar to Symphonic Euphoria as far as the formula of having like the up-tempos in front, the slower tracks in the back. But it's a very different project. I can hear the growth, at least for me. And y'all know I'm critical of everything. And I was very critical of myself and the last project, even though I'm the one who did it. But, you know, I'm really, really excited about sharing this one. So as it comes together, I will update you all. And I really want to actually have a proper rollout with this one, too. Like, the last one kind of just came out. It was like, surprise, here you guys go, enjoy. Because it was just like, you know, I was getting my feet wet. But now that my feet have been wet, I like dove straight in on this one. So I'm really excited about sharing it. And with music, this was also the year that I was like, you know, let's just take some gambles and take some chances. And when we see different opportunities, let's go for them. So I entered a few like writing competitions as far as music. I went to Atlanta for a music conference, which was pretty cool. I got to meet a lot of different people and get like some industry tips and different things like that. Even auditioning, believe it or not, I auditioned for Janet Jackson. Now, I don't know if she saw my video. You know, she had the auditions for, you know, whatever she was doing, and the issue was they had like 40,000 submissions. So I was like, I don't even think they saw mine. It seemed like it had to be something where you had to have some pull on the internet in order for the team to see your video. So I don't think anybody saw mine. It was cool though. Cause one, I didn't put it on YouTube. I only used it on like I think Instagram and whatever other outlets there were. So it is what it is. But at least I tried. I think I still killed it though. And then what else was going on? I mean, it was just a year where I did a lot of things. I went to Essence Festival. I've kind of done a video about that, but that was something I've been wanting to do just because I really like R&B music, and Essence seems to be probably one of the biggest, events you can go to for R&B music. So that was cool. As far as other things associated with music, I told y'all Gladys Knight is one of my favorite vocalists for some reason. It's just my grandma used to play her all the time. My mama played her all the time. And so she was one of the last few people I grew up on that I had not had an opportunity to see. I didn't get a chance to see Prince because he died. I didn't get a chance to see Michael because he died. Didn't get to see Whitney because she died. But I was in the same room with her at one point. So I'm like, that counts. And so I was like, I have to see Gladys. And so Gladys and the OJs did a show here in the summer. And I mean, me and my godmom went. It was like the most magical thing ever. It just... I don't know. It was such a great show. She was in such good voice. It was good. And mind you, that's not the only concert I went to all year. I'm a concert junkie, so I stay going to different shows. But I think that might have been my favorite concert to go to aside from going to Essence Festival. So that was cool. One of the things I did want to share, because people think that, just because, I guess I have YouTube where I'm very opinionated and energetic, that I don't have my own internal issues I deal with. And I think everybody has those. And so one of the things that I do to make myself feel, I guess, better when things aren't really going well, because like I've said, there's been a lot that happened in the last few years. Everything from my father dying, even one of the kids I work with dying. That even though I wasn't related to the child or anything, that still, it threw me for a loop, and it made me realize that all of us are human, and that mortality it affects all of us. And then of course, I think my 2016, I had 2 friends both die under the age of, one was 27, one was 25, and so. There's a lot going on that had been going on in life. And then after my father died, family started acting crazy. You got to deal with all that. And this person's not talking to this person. This person's not talking to this person. So when everybody gets together on this holiday, this person can't come to the house. And all of that crap is stressful. And so on top of the fact that, as you get older, one of the hardest things you deal with is questioning if you're good enough. You know what I mean? I think for me, because a lot of my aspirations are not traditional aspirations, there's no traditional way to get to it, and there's no guarantee that those things will happen. And so sometimes, as I'm watching my peers who have gone to, law school or go to this school, sometimes it gets me in my feelings, and I'm like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I doing everything right? And it's crazy because then when I look at my resume and all the accolades and, the nationally ranked centers and this, that, and the third, I'm like, how can you sit there and almost not feel insecure, but second guess yourself when you've been able to do all these different things? And so one of the things that I was going to share with you all, my friend introduced me to what you would call a prayer jar. And so what this is every time something good happens, you're supposed to write it down, put it in a jar, and you just constantly do it. And then on one of those days where you feel real out of place or real awkward, and I know this sounds corny, but bear with me, but when you feel awkward or out of place or things don't align, or I don't know, maybe you just had a rough day, you go back in this jar and you just go and you read all the things that you wrote. And now, mind you, it only works if you actually put stuff in the jar. Because the coolest thing is, as time progresses, you forget half the things you put in here. One of these days, there was a day sometime, it was in the beginning of this year. And so I don't even remember what happened, but I just felt man, I'm doing everything wrong. I'm doing something wrong. So I got this little jar. I'm going through and reading it. And then one of the little notes was because you write down things you're grateful for and stuff. So, there's things in here. I have stuff I'm grateful. I had a goddaughter that was born. I'm grateful that she's there. I'm grateful for friends. But one of the things I wrote in there at the time was I'm grateful that my YouTube channel hit 3,000 subscribers. And I looked at them when did I write that? And I had to look wow. And it's crazy because, it's at 16, or is it 17? 16 or 17,000 now. And literally this time 2 years ago, I didn't even have 5,000 subscribers. And I'm not super big about YouTube subscribers or anything like that, but my point is just, sometimes you don't recognize how far you've come until you have to look back at your journey. And so with YouTube, I've been doing this since 2010, 2011. And, like I said, I have a very underrated channel that's kind of stayed under the radar. And I think it comes with the territory. When you're kind of specific about the kind of content you're going to put out, sometimes everything is not going to be something that's going to be for the masses, okay? I'm not talking about all of the latest pop culture trends. I'm not really reviewing a lot of reality shows. I'm not on here with a wig doing skits. So, automatically there's going to be audiences that are tuned out and they don't want to hear you talk politics, which is fine because I would rather have it where whatever conversations we're having are for an audience that are open to it. So, this jar is really cool because it just kind of makes you realize that you're able to do a lot of things. It makes you want to pat yourself on the back when you look at all that you've accomplished. Like in here, I'll pull up one for example. Let me see what's on here. Hopefully it don't say nothing crazy. This one says, I know y'all like, dude, this dude is so corny, but I'm telling you, this really helps. I can't even get this paper open. It's that new goddaughter one. See, maybe I should go get her a toy this week. Let me do a different one. This one I think was from last year. I was talking about I visited my grandpa and a few relatives. And like I said in last year's video, like my grandfather I didn't really have a relationship with because I didn't meet him until I was like 9 or 10. Because my dad didn't meet him until he was in his 40s. And so after my father died, my grandfather is like that last connection I have with that side, at least from my father's side. And so I wanted to build a better relationship. So there was that. Here's another one. This one was saying, number 4 club in the country. That's talking about my after school center. And I put in parentheses 2016. And it's crazy because today it's number 1. And I guess I can jump into that story as well. So this is the second year in a row that my center has been ranked number 1 in the country within the organization that I work in. And I'm at a loss for words with it, really, because sometimes I'm like, how? What are we doing? Because us? It's interesting. When we got the call, I was running my little summer camp, and I got the call from the person at the headquarters office. And it was like, hey, can I talk to you about your scores for, this assessment? And they're like, you'll never believe, like, you're number 1 again. I was like, again? What? Because mind you, we thought we kind of had a terrible year. Because it was a rough year. There was a lot going on. It was a little stressful. My coworker was pregnant with the goddaughter, so she wasn't she wasn't able to do a lot of the stuff physically. And then there was lots of sick days and this, that, and the third. All kind of things were going on. And so when we found out we were still number 1, our score dropped a little bit, but it was still so high to the point where we were number 1. I'm like, this is crazy. And so moments like that, it again, you see how far your journey is. In that jar at 2016, I was happy to be number 4. Who would have thought I'd be number 1? 2 years in a row. Absolutely crazy. And I love those kids to death. They work my nerves. Well, they work my nerves, but I love them to death because they're mine. You know what I mean? Like, kids can be bad, but it's like they're your kind of bad. And really, mine aren't really that bad. It's just they're energetic. They do what kids are supposed to do. And so, things like that just give me motivation to carry on and be happy. And then spiritually, I've been on a journey, I guess. And like I've said before, like I joined a men's group back in 2012, 2013, which I enjoy going to, mainly because it's kind of just being in a space with other men who have, similar aspirations and different journeys that they're on, and just being able to come together and talk about our experiences and our hardships and things like that. I think everybody needs that kind of camaraderie. Everybody needs that safety net that they can fall to and be vulnerable with sometimes. We all put up these big shields and these big walls sometimes to protect ourselves because we don't want to be hurt if we've ever been hurt by somebody or anything like that. And I think sometimes having that support group is a great thing. So this year I made an effort to be more involved with that group because I've been in it since 2012, but really from like 2015, 2016, part of 2017, I was real on and off, kind of flaky with it. Just, I show up when I show up. This year, I really made an effort to actually be more involved and do things. And it led to, additional opportunities where I was even hosting events. So, that was pretty cool. And one of the things I wanted to put some energy into this year was just my health. Like 2017, I started the year off with walking pneumonia and a partially collapsed lung. And I'm still trying to figure out how that happened. But that was fun. And so I was like, I don't want to experience that again. And so this year, there was an effort put into just, taking better care of myself, trying to eat a little bit better, getting better sleep, even working out, just doing a little something here and there. And then even with my diet, I changed a few things. Like I pretty much cut white sugar out of my diet. It's still in there, but it's not as prevalent. And I think it's definitely helped because I feel like my skin has cleared up a lot. I also found a better dermatologist and got some different medicine because I'm very transparent. I've always had battles with acne for some reason. Like sometimes I'll have a year where it doesn't exist and then it just comes back and it comes back tenfold and I'm on camera looking like connect the dots and I'm like, Lord, I'm about to sit here and talk all this trash about whatever story I'm going to talk about and it's going to be somebody that comes in the comment section and calls me like a chocolate chip cookie or some crap. But anyway, changing the diet, I think it's kind of helped my skin clear up a little bit. Um, so cutting out sugar, soda, certain juices and stuff. I still have a little bit of it here and there, but not as much. I'm really a huge water drinker. Do a lot of tea, lots of ginger tea and turmeric and honey all the time. Like I gotta have that every night and in the morning. Just a lot of different things like that. And like I said, trying to cut out the stress, which is why I said like that prayer jar thing, that thing really works. You know what I mean? Like it's a great way to just make yourself feel better in times when you're not feeling your best. So, I've been trying to make an effort for, the health. I even cut alcohol down. Like I don't really drink anymore. So since my birthday back in August, I can probably count on two fingers how many drinks I've had. Like literally I've had like 2 drinks since August. So I don't really drink as much. And it's no judgment to anybody who does drink. Do what you got to do. Just be in control of your situation. Don't let it control you. I just felt that since I already don't really drink anyway, and it was more in a social setting, let me go ahead and cut back on alcohol anyway. If I'm going to do alcohol, let me do some of the lighter things. Do you really need to take shots with your friends on a Tuesday? Is it necessary? You know what I mean? Things like that. And so, that's where I'm at. As far as advice I would give, I just think for all of us, especially even millennials, I think we're too hard on ourselves sometimes. And I think sometimes we have to look back and congratulate ourselves on things that we've been able to do. I think with the pressures that society puts on us, especially millennials, the pressure on millennials right now is crazy. Every day I look and I see a new article about what millennials are doing wrong. And I'm like, okay, older generations, no disrespect, but I'm going to need y'all to start taking accountability for some of the things that y'all messed up in the past that, are now left in our hands to fix. But anyway, I think sometimes we have to get in a position where we don't always put ourselves in a position of always being, criticized or taking everything to heart. That can be a journey. You know what I mean? That can be a struggle in itself because, as you hit a certain age, as you start getting older, you're like, oh, I have to have this by this age. I have to do this by this age. I have to do this by that age. I have to have this. I'm supposed to have that and this, that, and the third. And a lot of times we're hard on ourselves and we don't even realize all the things we've been able to do until somebody reminds us, which is why I think YouTube is, at least for me, I want to get better at responding to the comments on the videos, but for me, YouTube is a great way for me to just, if I'm having a bad day, I know I can just go look at some comments on the video I made, and it's not about people praising you or anything, but it's more so about recognizing that what you're putting out there is somehow having a positive impact, and it's connecting with somebody, and it's valued, and people are asking you for more of it. I'm like, okay, that's the energy I need to receive that day. So a lot of times, if I've had a horrible day, with the politics that include my work, or, maybe it's some family mess going on, or maybe it was just a terrible commute from work, and now it was supposed to be a 25-minute commute, and it ended up being an hour and 30 minutes. I just finding different ways to, make yourself feel whole again. And I think for a lot of us, we got to get in that position where, again, we're not so hard on ourselves. And again, learning to let go of control. I think one of the biggest lessons I learned, and I talked about it in the first episode of my podcast, was I used to be somebody who had to be in control of everything. I needed to know the details of every and anything that was going to happen. And so when things kind of fell apart around like 2010, 2011, and I didn't have the answers to anything, that's when I had to learn, or that's when I learned that, okay, you're not in control, so go with the flow. Ride it out and let's see what you get. Now, I was still hard-headed, and it didn't kick in until about 2018, but, that was one of the lessons I learned, was learning to just kind of, and go with the flow doesn't mean be complacent with whatever's going on. You still fight for what's yours. You still go out and you put in the work and do what you need to do. But understanding that if you've done your best, if you've done everything that you were supposed to do, and you tried and you did this, that, and the third, then you have no reason to punish yourself if things don't align the way they're supposed to. Because in reality, exactly where you are right now is where you're supposed to be for a reason. And that's what I've learned. Sometimes I'm hard on myself and I'm like, why am I still at this job? This is cool, but am I supposed to be doing different things? Am I supposed to be doing better things? My aunt is like some super big time lawyer alum from Georgetown. So she invited me to her gala because they were honoring her. And listen, to be in a room full of all these different big time lawyers and people who have opened schools and corporations and multimillionaires and all this, and then they start talking to you about what do you do, and you're like, oh, I run a community center. And then while I was halfway there, I was like, F that. Yes, and I run the so-and-so community center out and blah, 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 blah. And my center is ranked this and this, that, and the third. And, we've been able to do, because the cool thing about that event was like, okay, this is cool that all of y'all are lawyers, but guess what? I'm doing something ain't none of y'all doing. So, learning to support and embrace and hype your own self up sometimes, not to be intimidated and judge yourself based on the accomplishments of others, or what other people have going on. I would say that's definitely a lesson. You got to learn to sometimes pat your own self on the back. A lot of you guys, you have all these gifts and talents, and every last one of us are important. We're all on this earth for a reason. You know what I mean? You're only given so many days on this planet. So while you're here, what impact are you going to make? Are you going to spend half the time trying to, attain something that you're not even passionate about because you think that's what you're supposed to do because everybody told you that? Or are you going to go out and do what makes you happy? You know what I mean? And so that's where we are. This video got a little long, but hey, it's my 2018, so I can say what I want. So yeah, share your thoughts. Let me know, what did you do in 2018? What worked? What didn't? What are your plans for 2019? What are you excited about? All those great things. And I do read the comments. I don't get to respond as much as I would like to, but I do read pretty much every comment that comes. So don't think you're being ignored if you've been commenting. I see all of you, and I appreciate all of you. I'm actually on vacation, so by the way, all the videos that have come out between December 23rd and January 2nd have already been recorded. So there's probably not going to be any like actual new videos coming out until after the 2nd. If there are videos that come out, they've already been pre-recorded. Just because I was thinking of you all, because I knew I wouldn't be home. But anyway, I'm out. Subscribe.